Oh, hello there. I'm Mapledungeons, and today we're going to be looking at an engineer build that I've been using, which is based on doing a lot of damage with a rifle and roaming mostly. So to look at the traits here, we have 10 points into explosives, which gives us bombs when we dodge for extra damage, and a 33% chance to burn for 2 seconds on critical hits. I have firearms 30 points, which gives me this extra precision for the crit chance and some good condition damage. So I get 30% chance to bleed people whenever I crit. I get a 10% increased critical chance against foes that have less than 10% health, less than 50% health, sorry. And then I have a 5% increased damage against bleeding foes. So that goes well with the bleed here, and whenever someone's bleeding, I get extra damage. The skills I chose were a 50% chance to cause vulnerability on critical hits, which is just straight up good damage on enemies and good in a team fight because it doesn't only affect my damage, it affects the damage of everyone. And then critical hits have a chance to blind enemies for 5 seconds. This is just some good blind up time and just stops enemies in their tracks from doing a lot of damage. And then I have improving damage for rifles by 10%. It also does the harpoon gun, but that's not used much. I have 10 points into alchemy, which gives me an Elixir B at 75% health, which by the way is this, and gives me might, fury, swiftness, and retaliation. So straight up good damage whenever I hit below 75% health. This skill that I chose gives me an Elixir S at 25% health, which by the way is this, and it'll give me immunity and make me tiny for 3 whole seconds, as well as break a stun. So whenever I'm about to die, whenever I'm getting bursted down right away, I will have that set off. I then have finally 20 points into tool belt skills, which makes me have some extra endurance here and makes me gain 5 seconds of swiftness whenever I equip a kit. This gives me basically permanent swiftness. If I look at this, I have 1 kit equipped right now. I can set that off, and then when it runs out I can do it again, and this is permanent swiftness, and it's very good for roaming. I then have, whenever my health reaches 25%, tool belt skills completely recharge. So I really want to use this before I hit 25% health. So what will happen, I'll want to use all these skills, all these tool belt skills, and then when I hit 25% health, I'll go into immunity mode for 3 seconds. I'll have all of this, I'll be able to pop my heal, and I should be A-okay. So it kind of gives me 2 chances. And then, since I have all those extra utility tool belt skills, I will discharge a bolt of lightning whenever I use one, which is some straight up damage. I believe it's AoE damage. In terms of equipment that I'm using 6 runes of the Ogre for that straight up damage there. I'm gonna look into other stuff, but this is generally good because it's just a lot of damage, and it's a lot of damage in pretty much any situation. Even if you're down, it will continue to do damage, so that's good. The rifle sigil I have is a 60% chance on crits to inflict bleeding. This goes along with the trait, so it's just good bleeds uptime, so I can keep that 5% chance to kill, 5% increased damage on all enemies at all times almost. I have the Berserker amulet, which I'm using at the moment. I might switch this out for like a soldier's amulet occasionally if I need some extra survivability, but generally the Berserker's amulet is something, it's the best option for damage. What I have in terms of utility skills is, first off, as you saw earlier, the medkit. The main reason I'm using the medkit is because, as well as being good, it gives me that extra swiftness, that permanent swiftness, which is almost essential for the roaming, which I have made this build based off of. What it has in terms of skills is 3 bandages. It has a condition removal here, which is essential to the build. And then it has a stimulant, which will give me fury. And considering my build is highly centered around crits, I find this extremely useful, so I will use that for Fury pretty often. I then have, as my tool belt skill on the med kit, a bandage which will straight up heal me for 5k health. This skill is my variable skill, which I'll change out depending on the situation. The basic skill I have in this slot, just as a default, is the rocket boots, because it's the best skill for the roaming aspect of it, and will be able to get you out of a fight right away. It'll can cure any condition that would slow you down, as well as break out of any stun that would slow you down. So if you need to get out of a fight and get to another fight, it's the perfect skill to have. Of course, there are other options depending on what you need out of a particular fight. So if, say, I decide that the enemy team has a bunch of conditions and I really need to pack some condition removal, I would switch this skill out for an Elixir C, which cures all conditions and turns them into random boons, and I can even do some AoE condition removal for my team with the tool belt skill. And then if I want some just straight up survivability, I could go into an Elixir S, so I'd actually have two of them. But what I tend to do is go into Elixir R, which for one thing gives me 2 extra dodges, so I can dodge again, pop that, and then 2 more dodges. So this is good if I need to go into a 1v1 fight, because not exactly for the ability itself, but for the tool belt ability that it offers. The Elixir R ability actually gives me insta-res, basically. If I pop that and die right now, it'll pop me right back up as long as I don't get stomped immediately. What it does is both cure conditions in an area and revive allies. So you can use this to revive a friend, or you can pop it right before you die to revive yourself, which is extremely useful in either a team fight to get up friends, or to get yourself up in a 1v1 and give yourself 2 chances, even 3, because as I mentioned before, you kind of have the 2 chances with the extra heal as well as the 3-second immunity whenever you hit 25% health. The next utility skill that I am using is the rifle turret. The rifle turret is useful because it is good straight up damage, and when you explode it will put another bleed on your opponent, and otherwise it's actually good just to be detonated and then to use just as an extra bit of damage here with your surprise shot, which will just fire a bullet out of your belt. And there's nothing more to it really, it's just good straight up damage. The next skill is the utility goggles. This is an essential part of this because it gives an extra stun breaker if you absolutely need it, but what you mainly use it for is that fury and the blind immunity. It's what you use when you're bursting. You want to pop it as well as your tool belt skill, which is analyze, and will give 10% vulnerability to the enemy, 10% incoming damage from all sources. So when you're going to be bursting someone down, you're going to want to make sure your turret's up. You're going to want to pop your utility goggles, which will give you fury, 20% critical chance, and then 10% extra damage to them, and they should die pretty quickly. It'll also be useful to pop this ultra, which is the supply crate. The supply crate can either be used defensively, like so, just for all these health packs, and even for the net turret, or it can be used defensively with your burst in order to take someone down. It will do a little more damage with the flame turret, it will help your allies in a team fight with the healing turret, and it will keep your person in one place with a net turret. So if you pop your stuff, pop your utility goggles, and then have the net turret slow someone down and use your blunderbuss, which is a close range attack, which does a lot of your damage, you should be golden. Anyway, that's all I really have for now, guys. I should post some gameplay of this build tomorrow. I meant to post some gameplay with this video, but I am sick and tired right now, so after this video is edited, I am going to go and pass out. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you'd like to see more content like this in the future, you can subscribe to the channel and let me know. I've been Mapledungeons, and I'll see you next time.